There is no curse in Elvis enters or the tongues of men for this treachery. Last time I covered Crash Bandicoot was with Mind Over Mutant. It wasn't fun. But we have an interesting one on our hands. The first one to be considered disappointing. But I'd like to look at things a little more closely. So after Naughty Dog couldn't make the Crash games anymore, they went on to make Jak and Daxter. Are those games any good? Meanwhile, Mark Cerny originally wanted the game to be free roaming with puzzle elements sprinkled in. Crash would have been also able to travel around between planets. Universal would end up getting the team behind Mickey Mania and Sonic R, Traveler's Tales. They made this 3D concept animation of Crash going through a volcano level. The game's engine started being produced around mid-2000. In September 21, 2000, Universal and Konami, the same Konami who shut down Hudson Soft, you shall pay for your crimes. They had an agreement that would allow Konami to publish the next console generation Crash game while Universal handled the production. The game was also made multi-console. Perfect. The only problem? Universal's relationship with Mark Cerny and Sony were rocky, so it fell out. So now Traveler's Tales had to restart the game from scratch. The catch? Well, let's just say they only had 12 months to complete the game. Oh boy! Oh dear! Oh golly golly gee! Well, I did review worse before, so hopefully this isn't that bad. So our story starts at the villain space shuttle. So is the 100% ending of Warp not canon anymore? Uka Uka is mad at the drop in track record for spreading evil. Oh my god, that's so stupid. Anyway, while Tiny Tiger, Dingo Dio, Dr. Nefarious, and Troopy and Dr. Engine are thinking of a plan to get rid of Crash, Cortex comes forward and reveals he had a previously secret, genetically enhanced super weapon of unbelievable strength. He had that thing the entire time? It's however missing its source power, so Uka Uka suggests getting help from the elementals. That's too easy. A group of different power-wielding masks.
Water, earth, fire, air.
Hey, wait a minute. Although to be fair, this came out before Avatar The Last Airbender, so I'll give it a pass there. But, man are these elementals. Again, too easy. Really not creative. There were so many things they could have gone for, but they just went for the 4 basic elements of nature. Each of them with iconic voice actors. Rock O, played by Tom Wilson, but from Back to the Future for those who don't recognize that name. Pyro, Har Har, played by Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker from Star Wars and Joker from Batman the Animated Series. Lolo, played by Jess Harnell, who funnily enough would end up playing Crash himself in the Reunited trilogy. He was also Spyro and Hunter in A Hero's Tale and Wacko from Animaniacs. And finally, Wawa, played by Orly Ermi, who I'm not too familiar with, but he's Surge from the Toy Story movies. Takes to the elementals, seriously, that's not clever. And the power crystals, he can now bring his secret weapon to life. Crunch Bandicoot, played by Kevin Mitchell Richardson. You most likely know him better as Captain Gantu from Lilo and Stitch, but also Goro from the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie. Meanwhile, the Bandicoots are warned by Aku Aku after being told about their plans by Uka Uka. Yeah, way to go, numbskull. Okay, but fine. We jump in the game. The first level is ice related. What? Alright, let's get this out of the way. Yes, the game looks dated. Yes, Crash, Coco, and Pura look more like bootleg pluses. Even the villains suffer from this. Look at Cortex's eyebrows. Look at how dead inside the engine looks. But it doesn't even stop there because oh my, do the environments look dull. Look at the crystals, they're so transparent, you might end up even missing them. And the game where you collect stuff, that's not a good thing. Although to be fair, as weird as it is to start a game with a snow level, the stage itself is actually pretty fun. It's just at the right length, it allows you to get used to the controls and what it throws at you. I mean, yeah, these penguins make me want to see penguins extinct, and the slide is a lot more finicky than necessary, but for a starting level, this is pretty good. Say, is that Tana in the back? Next up we have a vehicle section. Odd. Well, anyway, you're controlling a plane and you need to shoot down all of Cortex's fingermergings. Yeah, I don't know what those are. I hate how rapid the enemies are though. Once they get close enough to you, they start shooting all out on you. Granted, they didn't kill me, but it did happen to me more than once. There's also two hot air balloons. One that can refill your health, and another one that does something. I don't know what it does. It didn't seem to do anything on my playthrough. But yeah, with that being said, these are more mindless than anything. These aren't frustrating, just mindless.
Piece of me, Bandicoot? Huh? Huh? Do ya? Huh? Wuss.
Really? Really? That was the best insult you could come up with? That was 3rd grade level of insult. That wasn't even an insult. In fact, that was so non-threatening that not even a 2-year-old can take that seriously. The next level after is Super Monkey Ball. Hey, you know how Super Monkey Ball Adventures was a Monkey Ball game that got screwed over because it was trying to be a platformer, but it had the physics of the monkey ball duology. This is kind of like that, but in the form of a single level. You don't have to jump, which is good, but moving around crashing the ball is very tiring. I also hate how imprecise he can be, by sometimes either going too fast or too slow. How undeniably fun. You know what I'm realizing? They're just trying to replicate what made Crash 3 work again. Now, hear me out. I'll explain myself. Well, you see, in Crash 3, the first level was a platformer, the second level was an underwater gimmick level, and the third level is another gimmick level. But this time it's with Coco and the Great Wall of China. So in both cases it's platformer, gimmick, and it doesn't stop there either. Remember how one of the power-ups you can get in Crash 3 is the Crash Dash? Well, in World of Cortex, you don't have the Crash Dash. Instead, you get sneaking. Oh, imagine the possibilities with this, like sneaking on TNT crates, or sneaking on TNT crates, or even sneaking on TNT crates.
That's not fun!
Ah, what the hell is that? That looks like pure nightmare fuel. Get that thing away from me. I got nothing. There could be so many other things I could be doing right now. Well, I could be playing Crash 3 instead. I could also be watching BNA instead. And also some Monty Python or even Dragon Pilot. I could drink melonade. I could teach a Bandicoot to fly. I could teach a cat to eat lasagna. I could do anything. But instead, I'm playing Wrath of Cortex. To be fair, the platforming is the best part about this game. Sure, they are jank city, but they managed to get some of what made them fun in the previous Crash games. The problem is that sometimes the level designs are so wide that you can easily just ignore the enemies. And then there's Coco. A common problem I've heard before is that her kick is pathetic. Well, there's actually two kicks. The normal attack, which is actually not pathetic and is really useful, and the one that replaces the slide, which not only goes way less out than the attack, but it sometimes got me because I try to do the slide thing, but instead I do this puny shit. In fact, if they didn't replace the slide, I would have said that Coco is just as fun to play as than Crash. But that's not the case, sadly. But what about the bosses? Well, there's one simple word to describe each of them. Bad. The bosses are either cheap, bland, or both. Honestly, they're more mind-numbingly uneventful and unengaging than anything, which sucks because Crash 2 and Crash 3 prove that the Crash Bandicoot franchise can have really good bosses. And as for the gimmicks, well, I've already mentioned 2, but there's actually quite a lot more. Like, for example, underwater there's a submarine that is slow and is very fragile. Or how about in the air with this version's jetpack, which is just as bad as the one in Crash 2, but even more slower. Or how about every time you go into the Jeep car, like the race for example, well, the car controls very sluggishly, but Entropy is by far a cheap opponent who somehow always manages to get in first. Or how about a worse version of the flying section from earlier, except this time the automatic missile shooting is worse, and sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't even land. It doesn't even shoot out. Or how about the mech that's worse than the fruit bazooka and just as strong as the submarine? Transformers, this ain't. What else can I think of? What else can I think of that's actually positive? The music. Well, it is not as good as the trilogy. In fact, it is way below, but it still has a little bit of funk that makes it decent, even a little enjoyable. However, it's not something I would go out of my way to enjoy. But what about the ending, since I'm trying to get this over with? Well, to put it simply, Crunch becomes part of the Bandicoot family. While depending on how many crystals you've collected, you either see Cortex and Uka Uka stranded on an ice block if you 100% the game, or in my case, Cortex bragging about the fact that you didn't. But like I said, I stopped caring, so please, show the credits and ending so that I can feel some kind of joy. So me. no, 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 no. Is that really the perfect ending? Was that really the perfect ending? Just have some guy we've never even seen before and a bandicoot in trousers dancing to some really bad disco music. Is that the perfect ending? The perfect ending for Crash Bandicoot game? All things. I didn't enjoy myself with Wrath of Cortex. And the truth is, I didn't want it to be this way. I really wanted to see the positive side. Learning about the crunch was really heartbreaking, and I really wanted to enjoy this game with all my heart and blessing, and but it's hard because of the state that it is. It is not a good game, unfortunately. In my opinion, it is not a good game. It is not only not a good game, but it is also not a good season. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we'll ever get another attempt. It seems that Naughty Dog is too busy. Vicarious visions are, I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know, bugging them about making a Crash 4 is really, really, really too much. Oh wait, this is upside down. But fortunately, we are not in that timeline. As for, there is Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. Yes. Now this is what I'm talking about. Fun gameplay with smooth controls, new moves that are actually really fun, hard level designs and hard bosses, an engaging story with a few Swiss cheese holes that don't really make sense. Like how Tana died in the dimension where Crash and Coco, the ones we know, are, which is weird seeing as how the Japanese manual stated that Tana divorced Crash. But then again, what other Crash game allows you to play as Dingo Freaking Dio and Tana, whose gameplay is a little disappointing, but but overall, this is how you do Crash 4 and not Wrath of Cortex. You see, you fix the sins of Wrath of Cortex. Man, I love you. But with that being said, seeing as how November has only gotten me so far with avoiding me the inevitable, I'm assuming that it is close by and time for me to deal with it. So, where is it? Oh God. Thank you. Oh dear God. But I can't run away from this anytime soon. I'll see you guys next time, and may God have mercy on all of our souls. Well, Wrath of Cortex has something like that. Das. Oh God. Oh, oh. Oh, and do yourself a favor and go support Scott White. For those of you who didn't know, he's the most recent voice actor of Crash, who's been doing the voice of, well, Crash. And not only has he been very good, but it's also clear that he's just super enthusiastic about it. So go give him love, support him all you can, and yay, yay, yay!
Get on with it!